Everybody, Dr. Rosie here with Rosie Physiotherapy, and I wanted to touch base, just a follow up from the video I did just before. If you're watching these in sequential order, then definitely want to watch the video regarding how do I know if I just have Medicare before this, or unless if you know for a fact you do have traditional Medicare, you don't have a Medicare Advantage plan, then you can just go ahead and skip that video. But for right now, what I want to talk about today is going to be just a little bit different, and this is going to be about a Medicare Advantage plan. And so what I want to direct you to is this page. And I found this page, and this is the easiest way to find this is you can just type in Medicare Advantage Plan either into the Medicare.com or Medicare.gov website, or if you just type in Medicare Advantage Plans and you click the one that is actually sponsored by Medicare.gov, and it'll take you to this plan. And this is probably, I want to spend a little bit of time talking about this, and this is probably one of the most difficult conversations I have to have with patients with regards to their insurance, and as well as if their insurance is going to provide services or pay for services. And the short answer is probably not. If you have a Medicare Advantage plan, or at least with us, we are contracted with traditional Medicare, we are contracted with the VA, we are contracted with TRICARE, we are contracted with the with the federal governmental insurances that are, they set the rules, they say, here are the rules, and you participate, and if you participate, then you will get paid as such for those services. It's a very honorable and honest, straight path on how this works. Private insurances such as United Healthcare, Aetna, Cigna, all of these private insurances tend to be very unethical. They tend to consistently require more and more overhead, more and more paperwork, and more claims reviews just to get the therapists, the doctors, the providers from not participating as much as a way to save them money. Remember, Medicare plans are federally backed. They come out of your tax dollars. Even if you're no longer working, you actually still pay a Medicare tax. And at one point in your life, you were working and you were getting that 12 or 13% Medicare tax taken out of every single paycheck. So you've paid for this in some form or another. And so remember that you've paid for this plan already, and for you to give it up, to me, seems a little silly. However, I'm not a broker. I'm not an insurance broker. And so, this all goes to say this is just a personal opinion. This is not even my medical side of my opinion. This is just me as a person, giving my thought as to, you've already paid for it. Why would you give it up to get something else? Because in my opinion, I believe it to be of a lesser value, not an equal value, but a lesser value. And so Medicare Advantage Plan, again, this is straight from the source. This is .gov, which means it is a government-sponsored website, Medicare.gov. Medicare Advantage plans are another way to get your Medicare Part A and Part B coverage. This is true. These Medicare Advantage plans are sometimes called Part C or MA for Medicare Advantage plans. They are offered by Medicare-approved private companies that must follow rules set by Medicare. I think this is the most important thing that patients fail to see. This is the most important thing that patients believe they have, because they have a Medicare adjusted plan or a Medicare Advantage plan, and they say, no, I have Medicare, because some insurance broker has convinced you to give up your rights as a Medicare beneficiary, and in turn, they have made some money off of that, and they are convincing you or telling you, and I don't want them to sound sly, but they do make money off of getting you to waive your rights, to waive your benefits. You've given up your civil liberties of something that you have worked your career for, and there's money to be made. So these are Medicare approved private companies. It's very important that you understand this right now. Private companies, and these private companies will, they don't have to follow Medicare to the T. There are laws being put in place to help really hold them accountable. And if they do have a Medicare Advantage PPO, then traditionally they will follow Medicare guidelines to the letter for the most part, but it can still get hairy. If it is a Medicare HMO, a Medicare Advantage HMO plan, you can almost guarantee that you will not be able to walk into any Medicare approved site and get those services. And one of the things I always like to tell my patients is, if you have Medicare, you go to a facility anywhere in the United States that is Medicare approved facility, then your coverage will be as if you were at home seeing your primary doctor. There will be no change in the copays, no change in the fees, nothing. It's standard throughout the United States. If you have a Medicare Advantage plan and an HMO, yeah, they're cheaper. But if you ever, travel, even if you're not one to travel frequently, you don't travel very often. Let's say you travel to a grandchild's, graduation after COVID, and you're not worried about traveling anymore. You go to a graduation ceremony or a wedding, and just so happens that you fall, you trip, you bum your ankle, and you need to get X-rays, but you're in, 5 states away. Well, there's going to be a problem. There's going to be a challenge associated with that, because you are no longer in network. They are not contractually bound to honor that network unless they are, wherever you're going, is a participating enrollee of that insurance plan. And the best way to make sure that you are covered first time, every time, is just to stick with the traditional Medicare. It says right here that these plans, they set a limit on how much you'll have to pay out of pocket each year by covered services to protect you from unexpected costs. This is true. However, the difference is that they also do put on limitations. For instance, traditional Medicare Part B, no longer, and it hasn't for the last 3 years, has a physical therapy visit limitation. For instance, individuals in the LSVT Big program typically participate in 17 sessions at minimum. And that is if you are doing the traditional plan, the way it is designed, the way it is researched and delivered and proven to be true, then you will have to participate in the first evaluation followed by the 16 treatment visits. And actually, there are times and cases where we may, as the therapists or the providers, may decide to extend that plan of care. Maybe the patient's getting really good, they're getting the progress we want, but maybe we think that another week would give us a much better added benefit, and so we're going to extend that plan out a little bit longer. When you have these private insurances, many of them are still stuck into those old ways where they're capped at 20 visits for the year, which means that your Medicare benefits are true, they're accurate, but then you are actually capped at that 20 visit limit. And again, if you're doing the LSVT Big program, right there, you've already utilized your entire year's services when, many other things could happen during the year that you don't want to lose out on those benefits that are offered to you as a Medicare beneficiary, as an enrollee. So one of the things, so it does say that it does recommend that you do keep your card in case you ever switch back. So right here, keep your card in Medicare in case you ever switch back. And then it talks about the most common plans that are associated with Medicare Advantage. I want to actually add up a Medicare Advantage plan. Let me see if we can, again, just pull up an image. I want to show you what some of the cards, of course. So... sorry, this is kind of done on the fly, but I want to see insurance card. If I could type, this would be easier. So let's see. No, that's Medicare. That's insurance. That one's fine. Right here. So right here, here is a Medicare Advantage plan. A lot of patients will see this and they will say, oh, wow, look, it says Medicare RX. I must be good. Nope, this is a PPO plan. You are not contracted. This is not a Medicare Advantage. This is a Medicare Advantage plan. This is not a Medicare plan. This is not true. One of the most common ones we do see is the United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plan, and it almost always looks like this. Again, this is a PPO plan, which does give you some out-of-network benefits, but they are still typically quite stringent. If you have a card like this, you do not have Medicare. You have a Medicare Advantage plan, and you don't have the full faith and credit of the United States government backing your health insurance and your healthcare needs. And here's another one just to show you. This is Arkansas Blue Medicare. It's a little pixelated, so we'll go to a different one. And so essentially, just wanted to pull out a couple examples and go from there. Now, the last thing I wanted to talk about is about these Medicare Advantage plans is, one of the things that I try to encourage and educate my patients, their family members, to really understand what it is that they're getting involved with is just to think about the money or to follow the money. Now, I'm not here to say that everything the federal government does is true, it's accurate, it's the best, it's the most efficient. But there are many safeguards put in place to make sure that you, as the beneficiary or the enrollee, does get as much healthcare coverage as possible, as much that you are entitled to as possible. With that being said, Medicare does not have licensed brokers. There is not a single, you will never find a single Medicare or government sponsored licensed broker. And that is because they're not going to beg you and they're not going to make a commission to get you to accept your Medicare benefits. They have thousands of employees on staff to walk you through how to get involved with Medicare, how to go through their Medicare portal, how to go through their website to navigate it so that you understand all of the benefits and privileges that are provided to you. They will go through that. They are very well paid. They are typically in either a call center, or they can get on a video chat with you. I've had a patient where they were on the phone for almost 3 hours with this Medicare, contracted provider, and were just so concerned. Oh my gosh, well, no, they're getting paid to make sure that you know the benefits that are provided to you. Now, a Medicare Advantage plan, it's a little bit different, and you likely notice how pushy they are, and that is because these individuals are making massive, massive profits by getting you to give up those rights. And here's the kicker. The profits, their commission checks that they're making from Medicare Advantage is the money that you're relinquishing. You're basically giving up your rights, your benefits, and that commission check that these brokers are receiving from the private companies like Blue Cross Blue Shield, Humana, United Healthcare, etc. These are all coming from your benefits. These are your tax dollars going to somebody else. Now, if you're okay with that and you're okay losing some of those benefits, then by all means, you can certainly stick with the Medicare plan. And this isn't meant to really kind of put anyone down for having a Medicare plan. I do understand that for some individuals, a Medicare Advantage plan truly does make sense. I would venture off to say, and I don't want to give a blanket statement, but I would venture off to say that if you have a progressive neurodegenerative condition such as Parkinson's or multiple sclerosis or anything like that, you probably want to make sure that you keep as many of your benefits in your pocket as possible and to make sure that you have as many services covered as possible. And with that being said, I would highly suggest and recommend that you do stick with traditional Medicare. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out with any questions you have. I am not a licensed broker. I really can't give you much information besides what I just did here regarding what plan is best for you. By all means, call Medicare directly and have a conversation with them. Call some of the private third-party administrators if you would like to work with a Medicare Advantage plan. That's fine too. But if you do have any questions or you know anybody who would benefit from this information, please reach out. Please share this with anyone who would benefit from this information. I truly am hoping that if it can help at least one person, get through any of these stressful times, get a little bit of information gathered from this, then I will consider this a success. And thank you so much for watching.